So let's see, put yellow on the flower, and maybe I'll do a center. So my center has a little purple. Okay, so I did a dress and a pair of pants for my color. So only 2 of them needed to be in color. And then the rest, this actual one, I'm not having you ink it because a lot of students don't have their ink yet, but the last collection, I'll have you ink the flats. So you're getting used to using the rulers, you're getting better at it. Prior to COVID-19, we did ink on the flats for all 3 collections, and it was the biggest stress for all the students because it takes so long. And so I took that out and I made it just pencil. So it saved you a ton of time, hopefully. So, yeah. So we did the plaid. I'm going to look at my list of what else I was going to do. Oh, I know. I'm going to show you some past illustrations and some mood boards. So this is a mood board that a student put together. And so when I look at it, I see the denim and I see red, I see hearts, I see snowflakes and feathers and fringe and a rope braid and all. So the fabrics for this collection are denim and fabrics that have a nap, like velvet, suede, leather, corduroy, but flannel too has a soft nap. So texture is part of this project. So for texture, she has fringed threads that are raveling out on the denim jean. This picture of the snowflakes and the twigs, she's going to incorporate that into her design. And these are like soft, wispy feathers. They kind of look like a pine tree, but I think they're feathers. Okay, so that's somebody's mood board. And then let's see if I can find her collection. Yeah, so this is her cover page. Why is it not showing you? There it is. Oh, it's just got a delay, that's all. This was in 2018. So she got a picture of a little girl and her name and the delivery date, September 2nd. And that's the name of her line. Okay, so that went with that. Let me see if I can find her sketches. Yeah, so this is more of her mood board. She had cotton candy and more pictures of snow and leaves and pine cones, some grays. And at the bottom of this are some red colors and some soft fuzzy sweater knits and macaroons, pink macaroons, and pink and lavender cotton candy. So you're getting the mood. It's a summery, not summery, wintry theme. And then here are her illustrations. So we have a little boy and a little girl. She made an accessory of a handbag. The little girl's holding some cotton candy. And she turned that feather picture from her mood board into a skirt that has lots of feathery fringe. And so she chose corduroy for the texture in the garment. and a flannel plaid in the little boy's shirt and a leather vest. So you can see how she mixed the colors red with the denim blue. Okay, so these are just different illustrations of children's wear. So when you do your children, you have to have a background. So this has a cute little building in the background, and the kids are a little animated. It's hard to see it. I don't know why it's pixelating again. It was doing so well. I think when I move the paper around a lot, it makes a difference on how well it's able to focus. His pants have a print on them and it has texture. And the texture makes it look like a suede. And there's fur. She has fur on her jacket, a curly fur, and fur on the sweater knit. So there's lots of different textures going on. The denim has twill. Okay, so here's another one. Hopefully it will focus up a little. So we have a plaid jacket, a velvet jacket, a Sherpa vest, corduroy pants, suede boots, denim pants, and the background, what is that background? Oh, it's like a little dock with water and the sunset. That's what that background is. And it looks like a Ferris wheel. Okay.
Miss Rab,
Oh, yes.
do all of our illustrations have to be colored, right?
For the children,
Yes.
hopefully if you have color. How many of you don't have color yet?
I mean, I have colored pencils and watercolor, but no markers yet.
Well, colored pencil and watercolor are fine. And I can
Okay.
demonstrate watercolor. So this
Yes.
plaid is not done with the computer. You don't have to use the computer to make your plaid. This was all done with a ruler and colored pencils. And it has some words in it. So we have a brown, a blue, and a red. So this is also when we were doing it in the classroom, and it's mounted on a board. I don't know if you can tell in the picture that this is a board where it was cut out with X-Acto knife. So you don't have to do that either because you just would scan your sketch. This is a student who sketched this, and it's really cute. They're little bad boys, and he put his little pit bull in there. Isn't it cute?
That's awesome.
And I know, and he's got like, he just has that attitude. He's so cute. And then this one has the little headgear, but they're really sweet. And you have the plaid, and this was done with pencil mostly. There's a little bit of marker in this blue jean, but a lot of this is pencil. If you have colored pencils and a colorless blender marker, you can smear the pencil and it looks quite nice. Let me show you. If I did just a basic t-shirt, and I put the pencil down with the side of my, okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of value down. And then I take a colorless blender, which has no color in it at all. It's just all alcohol. See if I've got one here. No. Okay, this is colorless blender. It will smear the purple, the pencil, I used a green, and it makes it look like a marker. And it's easy to control because it moves slowly and you can really make a nice rendering.
Miss Rad,
And
do
it
you
just
have
blends it down.
instructions on each texture on how to color it? Because I didn't, as you went over how to color most of the textures, I forgot to take notes. I should have been taking notes.
It's okay. I had a handout that had step by step, and I scanned that, and that's on the module for, well, I think it's week 4, day 19. And I'm going to be doing it again at lab today. I'm going to go over all those fabrics that I did Friday. So
Great.
you're
Thank
not going to, don't worry, you'll see it again. So here is another one. So this designer and the one prior that you really liked, these are two designers. They are partners, and they actually have a clothing line. And they don't have children's though, they have menswear. And so this was the other partner's designs. They're really cute. I like the candy cane stockings. Okay, let's see. Here's another one.
This is a combo also of colored pencil and marker, right?
This is all colored pencil.
Okay.
There might be a little colorless blender right here on the pencil, but all of this is colored pencil. This one is marker and colored pencil. But that to work with textures, you need the colored pencils. So we have the velvet with the dark purple pencil and the white pencil on top of the lavender. This is a tweed with colored pencil to show texture, and white gel pen and speckled colors. This is a mix of colored pencil and marker because it's blended. This was the denim. It has black and white pencil on top of indigo blue marker. This is a gray marker with black pen to look like houndstooth check. This is a suede look, and so texture was put underneath and rubbed on with the wax pencil. It had a beige marker base. This is a faded denim. It was put on with a gray marker dipped into the blue. And then afterwards, texture was put underneath and a white pencil on top, and it gave it more texture. I don't know if you can see that detail. If I go closer, you can see the white. There's like white on top of the denim, and it makes like a little pin dot. I don't know if you can see it, but it gave it a little texture. This is a leather look made with the black marker and the white pencil and the black pencil on top. And all of these are definitely marker. This was the brown marker with layers to make the corduroy and white pencil on top of it. Okay, let's see. Here's another one. This is texture under the paper. You rub with side of indigo blue Prismacolor Premier pencil. This was all done with pencil and colorless blender. It was blended. Oh, I used the 20% gray marker. I didn't write that down. It's gray. You can use that, or you can use colorless blender, either one. But it makes it textured. It still looks like denim. It was all done with pencil. Even the hair was done with pencil. The boots, a thick black marker and gray pencil, and it was blended with a 20% gray marker. Here's another one. It's to look like velvet. It was pencil and it was blended with a light pale rose marker, kind of like this, with the pencil. So the pencil was added first and the marker was added second, blending the pencil. And the plaid was pencil. Here's another one with pencil. I'll be right back. I've got someone at my door. Hold on just a minute. Okay. Now we've got here's another one with a background. Very simple graphics of trees. Your backgrounds don't have to be complicated. So the first one is quilting, showing silhouette edge puffed. It's done with a gray blue marker. The pants were done with pencil and a little yellow pencil, and then blended with a 10% gray marker. This was done with black and pink pencil and a little bit of yellow and white. And it had a rose marker background first. You can see the rose marker on the back. You can see the beige marker on the back of the other one. This was, the base was put down first and then pencil and texture. So let's see. Like something like this was put underneath the paper. So you get that rough texture on the sweater. So here's the corduroy with black and white pencil on top of marker. And the velvet has black and white with pink on it to give it lots of texture. So that's a simple background. Let's see. Oh, here's a really cute one. This is a student who's very good at illustrating. Sometimes we get students that have had some professional experience. So she had a lot more experience. So she mixed computer with her artwork. So she took the artwork and cut it out and pasted it up on top of a photo. There's a faded photo in the background of a tree and some fall leaves, but it made a nice presentation. She used marker and colored pencil. It's very cute. Here's another student. She created her own logo. That's her logo right here, Valerie. And her look, I don't know if you can see this up close. I'm going to move it up a little closer so you can see. Her faces don't have eyes. They have the shape of eyes, but they don't have an iris or a pupil. So it was kind of her look. And her background is just hanging stars and moons. She has a really clean aesthetic. It's very nice, very simplified. And so your personality of what you want your line to be can be busy with lots of details, or it can be simplified and minimalistic. It's fine. I think you can tell my style. I like whimsy. I don't know if you can tell, but I like whimsy. So I did an embroidery design of a dinosaur. My maiden name is Small Dino, so I did the little dinosaur. So she has a curly Sherpa fur. Her these are all just different textures from my little texture box. and I put a little puppy in there, and her jeans have a lot of texture. I put an applique on her jeans with a little heart, and she has the same hearts on her little toggle buttons, and put the little dinosaur on his knitted vest. And I don't know, it looks like I put a paw print on his knee. I don't know what else that is. I did that a while ago. I didn't date this. So I put a border so it looks like it's in a little photo album. And let's see. I like to find pictures of kids that have attitude. So I liked her attitude. And here's another one where it's a little more playful. So I think she's making him a knight, and she's a fairy princess, and he's part of the knight. He says he's got a sign. So I put velvet, so you can see I used a rose background for the marker. I put red and brown pencil to get that texture of velvet. And then on his highlight, I did white pencil and put a bright yellow on top of it. His pants are corduroy. I mixed gray marker base first, then put black pencil, and then went over it with white pencil. And for the first time, I actually went over the white pencil with gray marker, and it made it muddy, but I wanted that muddy look because it looks like corduroy with some fuzz on it. So I actually wanted that. So there's lots of texture going on. The denim has lots of ravels to show texture. When you do the netting, you can use a piece of tulle fabric underneath and it'll make it look like netting. I might have demonstrated. Let me go get a sheet so you can see. I'll be right around my table. You can still hear me. Just getting the tulle fabric. Yeah, I stuck it in here. So I think, I don't remember, did I demo this ever? This is tulle fabric. So when you throw it under and you take whatever color you're going to use, I'm going to use a darker color so you can see it from where you are. Okay, so let's see. And I rub it on, it picks up the tulle and I get that texture. So that's another form of texture, or these little things with some texture on it. So I put a border, the big check border kind of takes my attention away, but I kind of liked it. It went with my whimsical theme. And then I don't know what I wrote here, but this is supposed to be embroidery. I think I was being funny. Okay, so that's another one. Let's see. Here I was using the tulle under the paper to make a little play skirt. I call it a fairy skirt. And I used the denim pencil. I have an indigo blue Prismacolor pencil, and then I blended it with the light blue marker. So I have a little mix of texture, and it works. So these are just examples of fur. I used green, so it looked like a festival. And they're funny. And I did the Sherpa in grays and browns. The fox has a reddish brown and a taupey brown and black marker and white gel pen for hairlines and some speckles. So there's lots of texture in fur. The cream has browns and grays and thin black micron lines and brown pencil lines. So it's a mix and a variety of lines. Always putting a highlight on the bend so it makes it look dimensional. So another fabric that is texturized is tweed. So you can mix tweed in your collection if you want. You just have to pick which texture you like. So there's lots of choices. These are examples of the black leather. Solid black first, white pencil on top, black pencil next to it, marker on top of that black pencil, and I put some light blue pencil for reflective color. That's one way to do leather. The other way is to build it with your gray marker dipped into the black marker, and you get shades of gray and black, and then add pencil and get texture with black pencil and with white pencil. So this is more advanced, but they both work. They both look like leather. And then
For the charger. Oh.
What?
Oh, I'm looking for my charger because my laptop's gonna die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my boyfriend was asking me.
Oh, okay. So we have I was trying to show different furs. So this is 2 shades of markers, a beige marker and one with a little more red in it, a brown pencil, a white pencil, and dark brown pencil and black lines to make it look soft. And all the furs, the line quality has curves in it, which is what makes it look soft. If you make it too spiky, it looks like it itches and it hurts. So you want to make sure you have some soft curves besides, because I do have some lines that are angular, but there's still a mix of curves in there to help it look soft. Okay. Let's see. So here's another one with the plaid and tweed and denim and fur and cable knit. I like their hair. I don't even know if you can see this one. I don't think I ever colored it. It's just, I made the figures, a big one first, and then it gets a little smaller, and then a little smaller, and it looks like they're going back in space. So that creates interest and variety too, to change the size of your figures if you want to make a more interesting. Is this, I think she was the pose for her. I still didn't quite get her stubborn attitude. I want to draw her again so I get that look. I just like that look. It reminds me of how kids really behave. They get their attitude. I just get a kick out of
They're
it.
so cute.
I know. They don't have any power, but they think they do. It's kind of funny. So let's see.
And then when they get older, they lose that little sense of
I know.
confidence.
So cute. So I don't know. I think what makes her it kind
Miss
of,
Brad, it's saying that my internet connection is unstable. So
if I lose you,
yeah, but it's connected to my internet, which is weird. Fine.
I don't know. It just seems like the internet, it could just be because the whole world is on it now. They're having trouble keeping it. I don't know the solution. Because you saw it with mine too. It was doing that this morning.
Yeah, and you're like, do you have AT&T?
I do. You think it's their fault?
Maybe network things, or they're running tests.
Yeah, I don't know. So photo is a nice reference. And you can, like, I could just make this a pose and then change the design later. Maybe I'll just give her a dog. That's the back of her dog. I don't know why. I didn't feel like doing his face. Do most of you have colored pencils?
Yeah.
I do.
So the waxy pencils by Prismacolor are the best. Some pencils like Crayola, they don't have a lot of wax. And so they don't let you blend. So there is a difference in pencils. So if I take this one is 20% gray. Let's see, and this one was taupe. So you can see how dark it is. And this is gray. It's not very dark. So now if I blend, so what color would you like for that jacket? Anybody got a color they like? Nobody has any color they like? Everybody's muted. Pink? Did you say pink?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking like a dusty gray rosy pink.
Okay, let's see.
Is that what you were thinking, Daniela?
Yeah, like a powder pink.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
good.
so I go in my shadow areas first. And now I'm going to take my gray and I'm going to blend it. So if it's too dark, like maybe I don't like how dark it is. So maybe I don't like how dark it is. I use the gray. Now I'm going to go to colorless blender because I don't want it that dark. Okay, so here's my colorless blender. So I still want more pink in there. So I add a little bit more pink, but I want it a little lighter. So make sure it's clean, has a little blue in it. Okay, so now I can blend.
So you start off with the shadows first, and
Always
then you
start
do the lighter.
Yeah,
Okay.
at least the shadow, if I don't like it, that's just my shadow. I can go lighter.
Okay. And then for the shadow, you just blend it with the 20% of the gray.
Or the colorless blender, because now I'm with colorless blender.
Okay.
I don't want it as dark. So
Okay. So for darker, you blend it with the gray, and if you want it lighter, you do the colorless blender.
Yeah.
You know what? I need to write this down.
Let's see. So my colorless blender is going to keep it light. Now, if you don't have markers, they do have flesh colored pencils. Let's see if I can find one. I think this is the flesh color. I'm just getting a little bit of shadow under her face. And this particular one, she had a lot of shadow on one side. So I could put some ink in it or just leave it all pencil. But the ink will pop it up. This is my thick and thin marker. If I want just a little bit more contrast. So let's say I want to add some embroidery detail to this. So let's see. So I'm just adding a little detail. And maybe I'll put the same embroidery detail on her pants. So it was either it was embroidery, and then also it had to have either screen print or an applique. So this is just all embroidery. Very little eyebrow. I still didn't get that look she has. She has this stubborn look. I didn't get it. I don't know what it is I didn't get. I think her
It's
mouth.
underneath her lip. Yeah, it's pulling down. She looks like she's pouting.
Yeah.
Yeah, now she has it.
Yeah, like she's mad.
Yeah, she's being snuffy.
Yeah. Now she's really mad. She's getting a little.
You could
Yeah.
even like angle her eyebrows in to make her look
Like she's mad.
frowning.
She also has her head tilted a little up. That makes her look pouty.
Mhm.
I'll just,
Yeah.
but you see, anyway, it's just, let's see. Oh, I have to give you new words for vocabulary. Forgot about that. Did everybody remember to do their vocabulary test? Their little quiz on Friday?
I forgot, and you happy that you changed the date because I remember the
Oh, I
next day.
forgot.
You weren't the only one that forgot. That's why I changed the date. Yeah, did I make it like later today so that you finish it? I don't remember what day I gave it.
I don't know. I did it the next day because I was like, oh man, I forgot. Like I was like,
Yeah.
how
Well, you
did-
weren't alone, and I saw that, and so I postponed it. It's a lot, when we're in the classroom, I put the vocabulary quiz on the wall, and it's there all week. So it's a totally different, you don't forget. And so on the last day, I erase all the words, and then we take the quiz in class. But here it's different. So I just have to keep reminding you. Okay, so let's see. So here's a quiz right here of one that we did in class last quarter. So it's all the different names. Some of these, okay, we've already done one of these collars. Let's see. Well, you might know these. Does anyone know what this is called?
Puff,
A bubble
Okay.
skirt.
What kind of pleat is this?
a square.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Square pleat. Knife pleat or square knife pleat or something. And then it had an inverted zipper on the. It also included
Okay.
Visible
a zipper on the side.
Right. And so this one is shaped like a what?
Box.
Box.
Square.
That's a box pleat. Yes. Now, this one is the inverted pleat.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think this is called?
Perry skirt.
It's
And-
either
Not ruffles.
it's the accordion pleat.
Yeah.
And then this one, they all go in the same direction. So what's that called? Do you remember?
Knife.
Yeah,
pleat.
knife plate. And so this was on last week's quiz. You know what that's called?
A shawl collar.
Right.
And a lapel.
And so this one is called a dirndl skirt or a gathered skirt. And then this one was on last week's quiz. You remember what
A
it was called?
Perry
A Perry
skirt.
skirt. And then this is
It
called,
reminds me of the Perry.
yeah. And then this one's called a cargo pocket. Do you know what these pants are called?
Bell bottoms.
Bell bottom.
Correct. Do you know what this is called?
Ribbing? No.
Rib
Yeah, that's what-
collar
right.
and a rib brace.
You're right. It was ribbing in the quiz we had last week. And it's also called a motorcycle jacket.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait, excuse me.
Wouldn't the
Well, the
bottom one
first
be a
one-
motorcycle
That's
jacket?
This is the motorcycle jacket. Wait a minute.
You call that a windbreaker, the one on top, right?
Yeah, now I called one a bomber and one a motorcycle.
The one with the ridging, it would be a bomber.
It needed to be a bomber.
And that's the
Oh, bomber.
so
A
this is the
motorcycle jacket.
the motorcycle. This is the jean jacket.
Denim,
And then what do we
cargo
call-
pants.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Where is it on here? Cargo. So we had cargo pocket, cargo pant. That must not be the
Pant.
name of the pocket.
Makes sense.
Let's see. Fox, jean, motorcycle. I think that's all of them. Okay, that was see, ours was similar, but not exactly. Let's see. Is there anybody that hasn't taken that quiz yet? Everybody took it?
I haven't.
Okay, so you got to go in and do it. Okay, so here's a new one.
You posted the vocab already on the.
Yeah,
on the
it's on
mod-
there.
Okay.
So here's a new one. Are these the answers? Yeah, these are the words. We have mermaid, a ball gown, a baby doll, a tent or swing, a bishop, a flutter, a trapeze, an empire, an hourglass, a sweetheart, a wingtip, boning, cummerbund, and French. Have you ever heard all these words?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard some of them.
Some of them? So what do you think
Yeah.
it is?
Baby doll?
Correct. And so what do you think this one is?
Mermaid
Correct.
with a sweetheart.
Yes. And what's that one? When it's all full.
Empire?
It is empire when it's under the bust.
Or
But-
A line.
The shape of it is a ball gown.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this collar on a tuxedo, what do you call that? You know? So I'll go back, you can see the words. It's the wingtip,
Oh.
okay?
Wingtip, okay.
Okay, and then this is the cummerbund.
Mhm.
And then, does anybody remember the name of that sleeve?
Puff sleeve.
Okay, so it's on here. It's the bishop sleeve.
Oh.
And then here's your sweetheart neck.
Mm-hmm.
And this is boning on a corset. And that is called lace up. I don't know if it was on there, lace up. It's not on there. Okay, so now we have this sleeve. Anybody know what that's called? So it's right here, sleeves, flutter. Okay,
Flutter.
and then we have this one and this
Baby
one
doll.
left. That's the baby doll right there.
Oh.
So we have this one and this one. So we go over here and look at our styles. We had a tent or a swing, and we had a ball gown, a mermaid, and a baby doll. Then we had a trapeze, an empire, and an hourglass. So this is the trapeze. No, excuse me. That's the empire. It's under the bust.
Mm.
And then the trapeze is above the bust. And then this one's the hourglass. And this is the tent or swing dress. They
Oh.
keep, every decade they give it a different name. So the tent, it used to be called a tent in the 60s. And then it became a swing later in the 2 decades later. So let's review it. This is empire. This is trapeze. This is hourglass, flutter. This is
Flutter.
tent or swing, sweetheart neck,
Everything.
boning. This is bishop, wingtip, cummerbund, baby doll, mermaid, and ball gown.
Ball gown.
Ball gown. I don't think I missed any.
Miss Rad, it
Yeah.
says that your network bandwidth is low.
Oh, so it's telling you that? So I don't know
Yeah.
what that means, but I'll try and figure out what it is. Okay,
Looks good on my screen.
yeah.
Your picture. It could be
It looks
your
good, but it
internet,
says it
Daniela.
on the top. Huh?
It could be your network, maybe.
No, it says it for her on the top. Like if you look on the center top, like right above the vocabulary in like white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing that.
Let me
Let's say it
Mine does
online.
say that.
let me take a picture.
I think it's your network, Danielle.
Sometimes mine says that, but it's not saying it now. But I don't know. I just think it's a problem overall because computers are being used so much now. I don't know. Okay, so that was our vocabulary.
So it's like,
It still says it?
yeah, I took a picture of it to show you.
Okay, cool. What did you send it? How did you send it? In an email?
I took a picture. No, I took a picture from my phone.
And then where did you send it? Oh, you put it up there? Let me look. Oh,
Yeah.
go up higher. Oh, there it is. Oh, it does. It says it. That's weird. Okay, I don't know what it is, but I'll ask my computer guy. I don't know why it keeps giving us issues. Okay, so I got all the things I had listed done. I might introduce watercolor today. You think you can handle seeing watercolor?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so do you mind if we take a break earlier and I'll set up the watercolor while we take a break?
Yes.
Okay, so go
Yeah.
have breakfast and come back in 25 minutes. So it's 8:57, so come back at, let's just make it 9:25 because I don't want to add the 3 minutes and do the math. Okay? 9:25 and I'll have watercolors set up. Sound good? Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
real good. See you in
Yes.
9:25. Okay, I'll get the watercolor out. Papers that I got.
Wait,
Now,
what kind of paper is it that you're using?
one is drawing paper. I paid $1.50 at Daiso. And one is watercolor paper. It's 140 pound and it's by Canson. So Bristol board will work too. I couldn't find any in my studio, but Bristol board works nice. It's a little heavier, but it's smooth. And so it's nice for fashion drawing. I just have water in little glass jars. They work fine. And I have some paper towel so I can dry off my brushes as I paint. So I usually use this number 6 watercolor brush, has a nice round tip. And this number 14 for large areas. This is a Winsor Newton, and this one is Anderson, made in Japan. They have a lot of synthetics now that are quite nice. The type of brush you use makes a difference on the quality of your artwork. I've bought them super cheap and pretty soon the hairs start falling out. So it isn't a place where you want to save your money. You want to get a good brush. You also don't want to ever leave your brushes sitting in the water like that, because it bends the hairs and it wrecks the brush. When you're done with a paintbrush, you wash it, you get a nice point, and you let it dry like that, because it'll last for a long time. You try not to let paint get more than a quarter of an inch away from this metal part, because it'll absorb and go inside. And if paint goes in there, it's going to dry in there, and your little hairs are going to start spreading apart, and you'll never be able to get a fine point. So you try not to paint any farther than about that on your, so that you have more space here, so that it won't ever go inside. Okay, so we do two things with watercolor. You can paint your illustration with watercolor, and you can also mix colors to create a color for your color palette. A lot of designers like to create their own colors for this season. And with 3 colors, the red, blue, and yellow, you can make any color you want. You might want to tint it with a white or a black to change the depth of it, but that's pretty much all you need to make any color you want. Today, though, we have so much sophisticated companies like Pantone Colors and apps that it's really easy to get the colors. So I showed you one of them, I think I did, called Colors. You remember me showing that to you? No or yes that you remember, because I can get it up here and show it to you.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? I might not have shown it to you. So I think it's like Coolors, like Coolors. So I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to share my screen so you can see it.
Miss Rad,
Yep.
do you recommend any brush brands?
The Winsor Newton is really good. I recommend it. Depending on where you go to get it, sometimes they'll recommend whatever they're selling. But Winsor Newton is really nice. The sable brushes are the nicest, but they're expensive. And the synthetic ones are really not bad anymore. They used to be bad, but now they're pretty darn good. So whatever gets you a better price, I think is fine. The really cheap ones aren't good. They usually come in those little kits for kids. They're not good. Daiso doesn't have bad brushes. I've bought them for $1.50 and they're not bad. They work for a class assignment. I've used them. They have little kits of a set. You know, I can't argue with $1.50 and I can get the job done. So, but if you're going to be doing a lot, I suggest get a Winsor Newton. They're really nice. So this is the Colors website. It's called Coolors, and you can create. And they've done some new things to it, which I haven't explored, but it's great for picking colors. Yeah, I'd have to read all that, and I haven't done that. But I'll just show you.
Can you show us this for last quarter to use it as a swatch?
You remember seeing it?
Yeah, because I used it.
Oh, good.
I just
Okay.
remember you telling me to use the free one and to use it from your phone to screenshot.
Yeah, it's free. Why pay all the money? But you can just keep changing it till you like it. So if you click on it, you can change it. And if you lock it, then that's the color you get. But you can keep changing it. So this will view shades of it. So maybe I want it a little darker. And I think you can change the color too, not just the darkness. Yeah. So I don't remember. I have to go in here and play with it a while till I figure out what I did, because I don't remember. But go in there and experiment. You can get it on your phone. I've always used it on my computer, but it'll print out all the color that you choose, and it makes it really easy to do your color palettes. But this is new and it works. The watercolor method is older, but a lot of designers still use it. So it's up to you what you want to use. So we'll start with this. Now, if I was going to do an illustration, I would probably just use this cute little kit. But if I'm going to mix colors to make my fabric swatches, I'm going to mix colors. So you need a palette to mix colors. And usually in this class, we do a color wheel, so you learn color theory. We might do that towards the end of the week when you've got more time and you've gotten a lot of your project done. Hopefully, depends how long it's going to take you to do it. Might be faster with the next one, I'm not sure. But if I just take a little of each color, oh, why is this so hard to open? Naturally, when I'm doing a demo, there, it opened. So a little red. It doesn't take much blue at all. Even though these colors are mixable, the blue is incredibly dark. So you do not need a lot of blue. Okay, we have the yellow. And get that lid back on. And the blue. The blue is called primary blue. So if I want flesh, I mix these three colors together and I get flesh. I'm just going to show you. Get it a little wet, dry it off, take a little yellow, put it in here. I try to keep my colors clean, so I clean off between each dip. Get a little bit more red in there. And it's making it kind of orange. I'm dipping it, I'm cleaning it, because I don't want to get my yellow dirty. So I add more yellow. Now it's getting to look more yellow-orange, which is what I want. And if I just get a tiny bit of blue, hardly anything, and that's going to change it up, and I'm going to have a flesh color. And now I have a little flesh color. And all that was mostly red. And so here's my color. It's a little yellow. So maybe I don't like that. So I'm going to add a little bit more blue. I don't want too much. Now it's got it a little green looking. Now it's a little purple looking. I just made my yellow a little dirty. So now it's more like she baked in the sun. But as you get better at this, you will. Okay, so if I wanted to draw a face on this, I'm using the drawing paper that I paid $1.50 at Daiso. So I made a little kid space. So I made it kind of animated looking. Gave it a little too much chin. What is this thing in the way? Sorry. And okay, maybe it looks like a boy or a girl.
A boy.
A boy. I gave it a stronger chin. Okay, so I'm going to clean off my brush, dip into here. So, and then I'm going to add a little wash. So it's wet, and I move quickly so I can get it around before it dries. And I dry off my brush and just lift a little bit so I don't have it there. Now I have a little dried. Yeah. So that's my first wash. Now I want to come in and put a little more value change on it. I might let it dry a little bit, because if it's just wet into wet, I'm just going to make a mess. It's going to fade out. So I'm making a little bit of color change. And if I dry it off, I can lift water spots off. So the best way to learn how to watercolor is just dive in and try, because you want to control it. So now I have a little bit of shadow. Yeah, you could start off with a small portion of the figure and just practice it. So it's a little strong. So I dried off my brush and I'm picking up some of that water. There, but I like that look. Now maybe I'll add a little bit more blue to my flesh because I want it a little darker. Now I contaminated my yellow because I didn't wash it off because I got lazy. That's what happens with me in watercolor. Okay, now I've got more of a brown. Can you see? It's kind of purple too. It's not completely, but it's a little more brown. I'm leaving my highlight. The hardest part about watercolor is you want to get rid of the water spots. So I wipe them out with my dry brush. And you have to think ahead. So I left some highlight before I covered it all up because I can't go back and get white paper. So now I'm going to go in and get it a little darker. So I'm adding just a little bit more blue and red to make it just a little bit darker. Kind of makes it purple. So if I don't want it purple, I got to add a little bit of yellow. Okay, it's back to brown. Now it's kind of a dirty brown. Now it's kind of a grayish brown. So you get to know what your colors do. You get to think in color. Okay, so that's kind of a darker brown. So at the crown, I'm going to go darker brown and down near the hair. And so it's wet right now. If I dry off my brush and pull it, I can get some strokes with my dry brush. Just pulling some of it. So you get practice on how it works. The fine line, I would need a different paintbrush. The fine line's a little harder for a beginner. This will give me a little bit of fine line, but not much. There's another paintbrush that will, and I didn't go pull it out. I could let it dry and get my fine line with my marker, which would be fine. You can mix the media. You're not bound by any rules. When I first started learning watercolor, I went to a retired fashion illustrator and she was teaching it. And they have all these purist rules that you can't use black in your watercolors and can't mix markers with your watercolor. Well, that goes out the window with fashion. Fashion, you break every rule. Okay, so now I'm trying to get a fine line. My paintbrush is a little fat, but there are brushes that go thinner than this. So I just get a little darker, and that's good enough. And then I'm gonna dry it all off. I'm gonna get it nice and dry. I'm just gonna squeeze it. And then with this dry paintbrush, it's still a little wet. I'm gonna just pull it a little and feather those edges so they go into the sketch. And you can just see some of the line quality with a dry brush pulling the hair. So you get more control. And then he looks kind of manga looking. Let's see. And now I'm going to use my marker. You want to be sure it's dry. Some of that's dry. And then I can come in and put my marker. Yeah, he does look like a tween now. I gave him a little longer chin. It makes him look masculine. But I gave him wide eyes. So he looks young, but he could be a teenager. So say I want to make a color. Say I want to take and make, where did I put my paintbrush? There's my fat brush, but where did I sit down the other one? How can I lose something that fast? Here it is. It rolled under my computer. Here it is. I found it. Okay, I want to make a color. So I want like a dusty blue. So I'm going to mix a little of this blue. Maybe just a tiny bit of red with it. Made it more lavender. And just a little bit of yellow. There's definitely more blue in it than the other colors. And it's got a little gray tint to it because I added some yellow and the red. So now I'm going to come in with some of my white. I'm going to tint it a little bit and make a color. So if you really are into color and you want to create your own, you can't compare what you can do with a paintbrush to what you can do with a computer. They're just not the same. But this gives you a little more freedom. So here's my gray dusty blue. Not bad. Maybe I want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to add just a little bit more blue to it. And a little of the white. So I get a little more vivid. So I've created a new color. Maybe I'll call this Snowball Blue. I don't know. But I'm going to try adding a little bit more red to it. That was a little more than I wanted. Get it just a little bit bluer. Yeah. Still not blue enough. Still got that purple. Just a little yellow to tone it down. Go back into the white. Still don't like it. Where's my white? It's a lot more fun, I think. But you'll have to experiment with couleurs and with paint. Figure out which one you prefer. You prefer the fast speed of picking the colors or blending and mixing the old-fashioned way. Okay, this has a little bit more red in it. I put a little bit more yellow in it. No. Yeah, it's a little more purple. But I could,
Miss Rad,
yeah.
could you push up your the page? Thank you.
So I could create a plaid with this. I don't know if you noticed.
How did you make those colors?
What?
How did you make those colors? I didn't even see.
Oh, I mixed the blue, the red, and the yellow, but I put more blue in it. And then I added white to it.
Oh.
So if I wanted to take these colors now, which I don't have a lot of, I could have made a little bit more. Maybe I want to make a plaid with a little movement. So I might make it a little zigzag. So that's that gray blue. And this is it's more of a purple. And then that light blue, I ran out of it. So you got to make sure you make enough that you don't run out of it. This is not the color I used. I used primary blue. Yeah, that's the only problem. You got to make sure you don't run out of it so you can make your plaid. But this is just one method. It's up to you. I mean, you guys are
Do you
all.
ever like go to Venice Beach?
Say it again.
You try to just draw people. Do you ever just go to Venice Beach and like just draw people? And, like,
I draw people everywhere I go. Yes, I like it. It entertains me. I haven't done it in. Well, that's not true. One year every once a month on Friday night, I used to show at a gallery on Rose Boulevard and the beach. So that's not true. I did that for a whole year. And it was fun. I don't know, I got green. I didn't mean to get green. But I've never done this sit on the beach and do it. I did it in a gallery right there on the beach. It's not there anymore.
Oh.
It had to be the cloudiest summer that year. And people, when it's cloudy, they don't go to the beach. It's crazy.
Mm.
Yeah, somebody was telling me, one of my students, you could do that in New York and just paint people on the street. I go, I don't want to go to New York and freeze. I like it here. It was cute. Okay, so here we, almost there. Almost got that color. And then I could come in here and get my plaid. And all of these, I've created the color myself. That makes sense? Would that be fun for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's up to you if you
Yeah.
want to try the watercolor. So the thing is, in class, I could go around and watch you do it and then know what you need to fix. So you should take your screens off when you're ready to paint and let me see what you're doing so I can give you hints and tips when I see how you do it. But if I take a little bit of that pink and it's a little watery, I can put blush on and put a little in my flesh and maybe a little in my hair. And it's just watery. I got a little wash and gave it a little smile. And I could mix like my marker with my, and then my ruler and make a lovely plaid. And then I could make the same plaid in another color combo. Because I made it wobbly, it's easy to just add to it. I can even make it
I know.
values, so it looks kind of like the quarter I did, but has some depth.
Like what? Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, now I have a design that I created, and I could take that same blue and I could actually put it on my sketch. Oops, that's a little dark. Yeah. I just pick it up. And the other one, I still have a little bit more of that left. Now he looks more like a girl when I did the plaid there. I don't know why. That's funny. Okay, so then it had some black in it. And so you have a little bit
I picked the most complicated
You did?
plaid ever. I'm like drawing it out, but like picked it off of the plaid maker.
Yeah.
I'm drawing it out and it is so complicated.
So you might want to adjust it so it's not so hard.
I'm almost done with it.
Oh,
I'm like halfway done. But yeah, it's definitely a silly, complicated one, but it's looking like what it looks like, I guess.
now it's looking like he has something in his mouth because I made it too thick. Here, give him a little, add a little white gel. That's cool. And maybe some. So I'm mixing, I'm giving it the gel. It's kind of cool. Pop it up. So now I'm going to do lab and I'm going to just review what I did on Friday. And so if you have questions and things you want to ask me, just interrupt me and I'll stop and help you. But those of you that want a review of what we did last Friday, I'm going to do it. So one of the things I demonstrated on last Friday was velvet, corduroy, suede, leather, and furs. So I'm going to start with the velvet because I think the velvet is the easiest. So when I do, yes.
Could you also do crushed velvet?
Oh, I saw somebody wearing that yesterday.
I love it.
I thought about it like I never demonstrated that. So I'll do velvet first and then I'll do crushed velvet so I don't confuse you. Okay, so I'm going to use my marker paper. So I'm going to get some marker paper. The Benfang. I love this paper because it's see-through. There's other marker papers out there. They're more expensive and salesmen will try to get you to buy them. Do not buy them because I do techniques using the see-through paper. So it really makes a difference. And it makes it harder for you to use the templates. It's okay if you've been illustrating forever and you can draw out of your head and you don't need to see through the paper. That's fine. Buy the expensive paper. But if you're a beginner and you're just learning, it helps to use the templates, in my opinion. So I'm going to use a template. I'm going to make a crushed velvet and a velvet. So I can use the marker. So I think I'll give her a Peter Pan collar and a little jacket, maybe with a roll sleeve. Okay, so this is going to be a velvet jacket, and then this is going to be a crushed velvet. Maybe I'll make it a little, going to make it shorter than the other one. And do I want, I put her hand in the way. So maybe I'll give her gloves and that line that I put in the middle of her hand. I don't know what that'll be yet. We'll see. I'll think of a way to make it work. Maybe I'll give her shorts with crushed velvet. That's kind of weird. Or maybe I'll give her boots. I don't know what I'll give her. Okay, she looks like Supergirl. Okay, so yeah, the fun thing with the template is you can skip a lot of steps using a template. I don't have to. So I gave her a little, and I changed. I'm going to give her curly hair. I like the wild curly hair. And this one I'm going to give, I'm going to give her a hat. maybe a bucket hat. And the glasses could be underneath. And some curly hair. Okay, so we got a little curly hair. And I don't know what I'm going to give her here. I'm going to give her and change that foot and actually make it come out. This is her standing leg that has all her weight. So we'll just see a little bit and a little bit. And that will be there. I'll see the thumb. Okay, now I got a figure. Okay, so I'm going to do velvet. I want a base color. So I'm going to pick crimson red. I'm going to give her a base color. Circular motion, so I saturate. I'm on a stack of bond paper. I used a micron pen. They dry pretty fast. I doubt that it's going to smear. When I want to get in the corners, I lift my marker and I make it straight up, and then it's a real thin line. I can get in the corners. And as you use your beveled edge, you'll get more practice. You'll be able to manipulate and sculpt and twist and turn it and not go out of the lines, because you'll just get better at it the more you do it. So I'm making a nice saturated application of a red marker. So it's easier to do a middle value color when you're doing velvet, because it'll show the texture better. And I just went out of the lines. That's what happens when you're talking and drawing at the same time. Okay, so far so good. I got a little bit of smear over here, but I don't mind because I have plans for it anyway, so it'll be fine. So this paintbrush, I washed it, make sure it's clean. Okay, it has a little bit of blue. Blue tends to dye more than leave paint on it. So it stains, but that doesn't mean it's not clean. And then I point it, and then I'm going to dry it flat. So you always want to make sure. Oop, did you see what I just did? I spilled some water on that hair. Okay, it won't wreck it. So now I'm going to use a white pencil, a white waxy Prismacolor Premier pencil, because I want highlight. So a charcoal pencil will give you your brightest white, but charcoal also, I can't do anything with it. So it's good. I want you to see the difference. This is cream, not white. There's the white. Okay. So I'm using the side of the pencil, and I'm going down the side of the sleeve, creating highlight so you can see it, getting it nice and dark. If I use the charcoal pencil, it's a little brighter white, and you can see it's a little brighter white. But I went pretty hard on that side, so they look pretty much the same. A nice strong point on the white folds. It'll hit the lines and you'll get a little white fold. I have pictures of velvet. I'll put some on the website so you can see. It's always nice when you're getting ready to do fabrics to collect pictures that help you. I have tons of pictures on Pinterest for velvet. There's 2 boards for velvet, so you can see. But the white might come over here if the light hits some of the top of that. So as the light hits it, maybe I'll get a little bit more white right here. So it came across and it hit it. Maybe a little here, okay? A little there. Now the shadow is the furthest away. So I'm going to use the black pencil for the shadow. I'm going to see texture. So I'm using the light side the parallel, keep it parallel. So that smear doesn't matter now because I want to see that texture. So I get it inside. So I can tell it's got texture. But if I take my same red marker on top of it and I'm making strokes that are going thick to thin, it's like a paintbrush, just getting some of it scrubbed, but not all of it because I like the texture. Just some of it. I get it in there and I scrub it. So it looks, I can tell there's texture from the white and I can tell there's texture from the black. And I come back in and put a little nuance with my pencil. And that helps. And maybe a little shadow and shadows under the buttons. But I can, I might put a little bit more texture because I like the thick and thin and I like the light and dark texture. So some of it I scrubbed and some of it I left. So I can definitely tell there's some texture there. Now with red, if I'm moving that velvet and the light's hitting that red velvet, this contrast might look a little pink. So I'm gonna come over the white and add a little pink. Or maybe that tones it down, I could add a little yellow. All I want is there to be a strong contrast because that will help it read like velvet. I have the contrast in the dark color and it's dark and light, but it's still the black pencil. And then I have the white and the yellow and it looks like you move it and you get a bright contrast. That's how velvet looks. If this was purple, this might be pink. It would stand out. It just pink didn't show up enough with the red. So, and I could have gone on the back side and made the red a little lighter if it was too dark, but I think it worked out fine. So that's velvet. So I'm going to write velvet. So it's just all pencil, white and yellow pencil, red marker with black pencil. Okay, so another texture would be suede or leather or corduroy.
Wait, Miss Rad, can you do crushed velvet too, please?
Yeah, that's where I'm going to do it right here. So with the crushed velvet, I'm going to go a little lighter so I can make more use out of my red so I can get more value change. So I'm going to go on the back side with the red. So I could have also used a lighter marker like Carmine Red. It's a little lighter. Okay, so it came through on the other side very pale. So I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. And this makes it smooth. I could also use 10% gray if I wanted it a little more value change, but test it first, like in your shadows. Yeah, it doesn't really do that much difference at all. Maybe it does a little. Or I could have used Carmine Red, which is a little lighter. And see if I can find it. This is Carmine Red. It's just a little bit lighter. So you can see the difference. That's Carmine Red. This is red. So it's a little bit better. Not much, but just a little bit. Okay. So then I'm going to add my value change. So my value change, I'm going to use the red pencil and the black pencil to get some value change. So Sharpen the pencil. This is rouge. Now, where did I put my pencil sharpener? Okay, I've got my red pencil and my black pencil. So this pencil has like different value changes in the crushed velvet. So you see the pencil, but you also see it change. You'll see some darker value. So the black might be a little strong. So I could go over the black with the red, and I could use some brown, because what I'm trying to do is just get value change. And so the brown, I like that color brown. Also have one called Tuscan Red, which is a little more burgundy red. I'm gonna use the colorless blender. So I'm also creating a light source when I'm doing this. So I get the idea that it has some nap, that it has a little change, but I also am going to have it lighter on one side than the other. That has just a little bit of color change as it's hitting the light. So I might look, am I still sharing the screen with this colors? Are you still seeing this?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to just look for some crushed velvet images. Yeah, so here's one right here. So you can see the shades. Yeah, so you can see
Girl and a boy.
what?
We see your illustration, not velvet.
You don't see the velvet in my on my screen that had my name where I'm talking. Oh, you still see me. You don't see, it's not showing it.
Wait, I gotta go to gallery.
Wait, I'm not sharing it. That's why. There.
Okay.
Now you can see it.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what I'm trying to create, is that crushed look. So it does have some like scattered effect to it. And I might put a little bit in the dark too, because it seems to get it everywhere. Is this making sense? What I'm trying to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Miss Rad,
Yeah.
are we still supposed to look at the velvet?
You can't see it?
I mean, we only see the velvet. I just heard you coloring, so I thought we were supposed to.
Okay. What
Fine.
can you see? You can see, do you see my face or do you see the fabric? Yeah, I
Fabric.
want you to see the fabric.
Oh,
So,
okay. Fine.
And you
Never mind.
see me drawing too? Do you see me drawing too?
No, just the velvet.
That's all you see when I share the screen?
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing the screen so you can see the velvet. I didn't realize that you can't see both. Yeah, so I have so many questions to ask whoever knows how to do online teaching because I don't know when you can see what. Okay, so I quit sharing the screen. Now you can see the sketching, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't, when I share the screen, it wipes out the sketching.
Yeah.
Okay, so still looks
If
a
you need
little,
help with anything, Mr. Conti knows a lot about this
Okay.
stuff. He probably
Oh.
help you.
that's a good idea. I'm gonna call him and ask him.
And Miss Conway, is that her name?
I don't know her. What does she teach?
Is it Daniela? That was one of your teachers, right? 'Cause
Mr. Cardi.
Mr. Cardi, yeah. Mr. Conti said that Mr. Cardi
Oh, so,
has helped him a lot too.
oh, okay. I'll ask her. Okay. Okay, so I put that line on her face, on her arm, and I don't want it there. So I'm going to make a strap. See, so it looked like I meant it. And then I'm just going to put a cute little handbag here. And maybe that will be the rest of her garment. When I make mistakes, I make it look like I meant it. So nobody knows except me that it was originally just a mistake.
Finna block y'all. Anybody say something about that dude? I'm blocking y'all. Big wise ass, you block. Bitch ass nigga.
Has somebody got a video on?
Fuck your fucking mouth.
Should we mute it so we don't have to listen to swear words?
Fuck your bitch ass nigga. Bitch played me, she was ready for life. They said, bitch played me, she was ready for life.
Okay, do you guys hear all that noise?
Yeah, I don't know what it is
They
though.
said, bitch played me, she was ready for
I don't
life.
know what it is either. Because I muted all of you and it doesn't do a thing. It still stays there. I mean, we're getting,
Dad, do you think maybe something popped up on your screen, like on your internet? Because sometimes
on my internet,
maybe.
but we still see all of my screens.
I don't know. Sometimes that's happened to me.
I do not know what it is.
Is it Charmaine?
Well, everybody, I muted everyone and I still could hear.
Okay, that's it. It's good now.
Okay, you all there? So weird. There's so much that I don't know about the internet.
Yeah.
So I unmuted everybody, but you think it's, I don't know what it was. I don't think I controlled it whatsoever because I muted myself and everybody and it still was playing. I don't know what it was. Okay, so now we've got crushed velvet. So if I wanted leather, there were two ways to do leather. I used solid black. All right, I used solid black. So this is one way to do leather. And I use the side of the pencil. And it waves. It has like movement. I use black pencil so I could get a darker value. And I put black marker on top of black pencil. And that helped it be darker than my first application. I could have used the black on the back and gray on the front and made this black lighter. I had that alternative too. And then I can put some reflective light on it. And so I have a little reflective light. That's one way to do black. Another way to do black is to use the 10% gray and blend some of it. Do it while it's wet and pull it. Actually, this is colorless blender. I thought I grabbed the gray. But colorless blender will work too. This is the gray. It just pulls it a little bit. And I can get some reflective color in there from the garment. Maybe I'll put just a little bit of red in there. And so they both represent leather. One is blended, 10% or 20, gray and black, and some reflective color. This one will give me more depth. I can also put a little texture in it because leather does have a little texture. So I could put pencil for texture. And so I did corduroy and I did suede. So maybe I will make half of this corduroy and half of this suede. Or maybe I'll do it all corduroy and make that hat suede because the suede isn't too hard. I used texture underneath the paper for suede. And one of the easiest places to get texture is your cover to your layout bond. It has a nice texture. And you can use any kind of brown color. So this is dark umber. And just to get some loose texture. And then suede has more than one color because it has a nap, and when you move it around, you're going to get different value change. So I'm putting some cream pencil on it. Whenever you put waxy pencil on the paper, it makes it hard to put marker down because it's going to be a block. The wax is going to block the marker. So I'm going to put, this is sand. And it does have the cream, so it's not going to cover it all. But I could put the cream on top of the white, the marker, and get another value change. Or I could put the white pencil on top and get another value change. So I've got cream and I've got sand. I could blend some of that marker. To help it look like suede. So suede is shades, tonal shades of color. So I used sand and cream marker. And then I used brown and cream pencil with texture. So the texture is underneath. So corduroy, you can use your marker, and instead of doing circular motions, you can use stripes, and I can go on the back and do my base color. And then I can use pencil to make some of the corduroy a little bit darker, so I have some nap. So when light's hitting it, some of the stripe has some dark to it, and some of it has some light to it. That works. And then some of it will actually have highlight to it. So putting the white in there helps it look like it has nap. Now it also has some shadow under the knees. So I could either use another color marker or the same marker and blended with a pencil. It's going to give me a little bit of depth. But I want some shadow under my knees and in the folds. So I might mix this marker with another beige brown color. This is light tan. Might mix it with another color just to get some depth. Maybe this is light enough that I can get some depth. So the side farthest from the light, I'm making it a little thicker to help pop it up. Okay, so I did corduroy, leather, suede, velvet, crushed velvet. I think I did knits too. So I put cable stitch on the knit, and I put ribbing, and I put some, I don't remember what I called those. I had different designs. I'll have to find those and pull them out, what I did. But I could actually put texture on the knit and a little bit of fuzzies on the edge and a little bit of texture. And go to the back side. So I got a little bit of color. And on the front side, I go a little bit lighter. A little darker on one side more than the other, so it looks like a light source. And a little bit of highlight on one side. So I have a little bit of mix.
Miss Rad.
Yep.
So we basically need to just, with every texture we do, like the biggest rule is just to do about like 3 different values, 3 to 4, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't have to do every single one of these. You just have to pick one fabric with texture, because you're going to have in your collection a plaid. So you did 3 colors, 3 different colors of plaid, the same plaid. You're going to have the fur. You're going to have, I did 3 types of fur.
Wait, Miss Rad,
Yeah.
on our templates, like the designs, like
Yes.
let's say I create a plaid dress,
Okay.
but I only am making one of those dresses. Do you want us to just, and we like, let's say for our collection, that plaid dress comes in 3 different colors of plaid, or do you want us to have like 3 garments with the 3 different plaid
Just
colors?
one garment that you have to make. You
Okay.
just show that it comes in all 3 colors. So you make 3 swatches. So
Okay.
let me
Should
show
like
you.
the swatches next to the dress, or should we draw out the dress 3 times with the colors?
Let me show you.
Okay.
Okay. She did an extra figure. You only have to do 2 boys and 2 girls. So you have to show the plaid in one garment. That's it. You don't have to show it in all 3 colors, but you do have to have a page where I see all 3 colors of the fabric.
Okay.
Be on your fabric or your color palette page. So, but the garments represent, like I have the fur, I have the plaid, I have texture, and let's see, she's got 2 different types of fur, and she gave me leather, and this is probably denim, and this is probably some kind of texture on these pants. But she has a fabric page that tells me what every fabric is that she used. And like this could be tweed, and this probably is some kind of trim that is going to tell me on the fabric page. So quilting is also another form of texture. So that's a choice too. So even though I keep showing you all these different fabrics, you don't have to do every single one. As long as there's a fabric with some texture, that's fine. As long as there's a plaid, that's fine. As long as there's the furs, I'm fine. So I'll put on the assignment sheet all the requirements, but I want you to know how to make all the different fabrics, but you don't have to draw every single fabric. Only some of your designs are in here. The rest will be in flats. You don't have to draw all of them because I'm only having you do 4 figures. So obviously you can't draw everything. That makes sense? But I can tell she has a knit with texture. This jacket has some texture. So I can see it all. Let me see if I can find another one that I can show you. My trendy little guy. So I have denim, plaid, leather. I have knit, corduroy. I have fur on her. I have fur on him. And I think this is more denim. And this is probably a screen print. And so it has fringe trim. So it represents some of the garments, but not all of them, because they'll be described in the flats. So here I've got fur, I've got corduroy. Not quite sure what that fabric is. I have denim. I have some kind of screen print on his sleeves. I have embroidery and applique in here. Just gives you some idea. And he's got an accessory for a hat, and she's got a purse, and they're probably in more detail in the flats. So his accessories are probably this hat and maybe a shoe. And her accessories are probably a hat and a shoe. Does that make sense? Now, what else did I do on Friday? Let me look at my list to see what I forgot. The flats I'd already done before Friday, I think. I did those on like Wednesday.
Yes.
Oh, I did the furs. So I'll resketch the furs. Furs do well in watercolor too. If you want to do furs, I don't really need this. I'm going to just do. So I'm going to do a long hair. You want it high on the neck. Let's see. You want to do a short hair. It's a little shorter, and I mix some straight in with this to show like a mink. So this is a fox. This is a mink. And if I wanted to do curly, I think they're going to end up banning blowers and lawnmowers on weekdays when everybody's working at home, and only have it on Saturdays. Okay, so we got Sherpa, curly. So fox would be long hair, and mink would be short hair. So as it curves, you want to have it darker around some of the curves. Maybe down below where light can't get in there, you want a little darker. Can be a little darker on the inside. So when I use my markers, I want to use them like a paintbrush. So I get a little beveled edge. So I pull it. So you can see the feathery strokes. And I leave the top of it white so that it makes it look like it curves. Top of the mountain gets the highlight, and it helps it read that it curves. So I can use the side of my pencil. This is the black pencil, and get some texture. And then I'm going to take another color. I like light walnut. This one's light walnut. And I'm going to scrub it so it breaks down that black. And then I'm pulling it in little strokes. So now I have a highlight on this one. So I scrub my pencil and I pull it so I get little hair strokes. And I leave a little highlight. That helps it read like it's mink. So I used white walnut and I used black pencil. And I curved it a little darker at it as it curved around the hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you screw up a hand, you just make it a mitten. I didn't get the right amount of fingers. And it's supposed to be a child, so they're kind of, yeah, kind of a mitten. Okay. So then the long-haired fox, I used sand marker and I used some thin strokes. You can use some texture, little speckles. So I put texture, speckles. So my goal is to get line variety. So I've got thick and thin. Then I want a little bit of color. So I'm going to add a little bit of color. That is a yellow orange. And then I want maybe one more color of, and I don't use that thin side, I use the thick, so I get this look. So now I put a reddish brown. This is my really old walnut, which you don't have. I shouldn't use colors you don't have. And you could even use the gel pen that I buried somewhere on this table. Maybe, oh, here it is. And I might get a few little white strokes in there besides my black strokes. And I might want to get a little bit of brown pencil. Just so that I get some texture. I'm just trying to get variety of line and texture. So here I'm just getting a little bit of texture. So it looks like that, texture. This is a brown. It's called Brune. I don't know what that means. That's just the name of it. It's a brown texture. So my goal is I have diagonals. I made one higher than the other. That created diagonals. I created my highlight and I got texture. I got texture from the pencil. I got texture from speckles. I got thick and thin lines. I got brush strokes. So I have it looking like a paintbrush. And I have a variety of color. I used a sand marker and I used a walnut that's reddish brown. You don't have that. You have the light, no, maybe you don't have any of it. You haven't bought anything. I bought a reddish brown walnut. And then I used a yellow orange pencil. So I mixed up some color. So the mink, I only used 2 colors. The Sherpa, I like to use the cream marker and I like to use the gray pencil and I like to use the brown pencil. So now I just have to find it all. So I have other colors. This is oatmeal. It's not bad. This is called blonde wood. They're very similar. I haven't found my cream yet. I think I just found it. Nope, that's Deco yellow. And that's canary yellow. And then I haven't found my cream yet. let's see. So I have purchased over the years lots of these bargain markers online where you can get like for $30, 80 markers, and they're some off-brand. They're not bad for a beginner. They don't blend as well as Prismacolors, but they certainly work for the budget. So I have used them, and you can get a decent drawing from them. This is the cream. So I like to start out with a cream base, leaving a highlight of white paper on the top of the mountain. So I definitely have the highlight. Maybe probably hard to see my highlight, but it's right here and here and here and here. And then I use my gray pencil. This is a gray, and I'll make some little curlies with the gray. Hard to see, but you can tell it's there. And then I'll mix with the gray a brown. So my lighter brown is getting tiny. You can see how tiny it is. They have extenders for pencils. I don't know if you've ever seen them before. I'm going to try to find one for you. I usually keep them in my pencil thing. They're usually, okay, I don't know where it went. That's what it looks like, but there's a piece missing to it. Let me see if I have one in here. Well, I don't see one in here. Oh, here's one. Okay, that's what an extender looks like. So when they get really old, you can put the extender on and use that last little bit of the pencil. And they were wise. They put the name of the pencil color at the bottom. So as you lose the pencil, you don't forget what it's called. Okay, so then I can add some gray mixed with my brown. And I even go outside of the line because I want that texture to show. So now I've mixed gray and brown. And I mixed gray. And I used that cream. But any one of these colors, this was cream. This was oatmeal. And this was called blonde wood. Any of those are fine. And so that gives me my 3 furs. Now, if I wanted to use my watercolors, you know, in the beginning, in the 50s and the 60s, watercolor was all they used. And it's very economical when it comes to the expense of all these markers. The markers are quick and fast and portable. So there's pros and cons with all these different choices. So if I used my paintbrush, that was a little, let's see. I could either mix my brown or I could go get, because it's just a mix of the colors. Okay, let's see what we got here. Looks primitive, but I'm not finished. And I might use a little of that white mixed with this one. A little of that yellow. That's a little strong. Still a little strong. Can dry it off. You can see where I'm going with her. Just trying to put down a base. It's a little muddy. This one's called, oh, it's not what I thought it was. It's called Burnt Sienna. If I had a thinner paintbrush, it would be better to do fur, but I'm going to mix it with my fine line marker, so it'll be okay. We get just a little bit of burnt sienna, which has some reddish color to it. I'm looking for my fine line markers. Still a little wet. Ideally, I would wait for it to dry. But I've got a little base. Now this is my mink, which is a little bit shorter and not curly. But if budget was an issue, watercolor is actually quite economical. Little more skill to get a handle of it, but still, it's very, you can't beat the price. So I'm going to go a little thicker where the curves are. Helps create dimension. And you want a little bit of dark where the light can't get in. So it helps define the light source coming from here. So I can tell by where the darkest areas are, where the light source is coming from, because the side furthest from the light is going to have a little bit more dark. But it's looking more like fur, and I could add just a little bit of color, just a little bit. I don't need color in there, just a little bit on that fur. And then I put some texture in it. I didn't really need texture, that one. But you can see how, so I've mixed now marker with watercolor. So I have the mittens. This is my little girl face. Make her a little more animated. And she's got I think I'm into pigtails today. Okay, so my little girl face, and maybe she's holding a big red apple. So, did I miss anything that we did on Friday? I tried to do all the textures and the plaid. So does anybody have any struggles that they'd like to see some demos on?
I don't know. Oh God. Dog. I've been working on some like ruffles. I have a lot of ruffles, but I think I did it like better. I don't know. It looks like I did my drawing. It looks better.
Okay, let me see. Is it Latoya? Who's talking?
Me, I'm gonna.
Hold on, I'm gonna pin it. Okay. It's coming into focus.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Is that like a neckline?
Yeah, it's like a high neckline, but it's like a the shirt is like ruffled all over the sides, but it like ties on the ends. It has like little bow ties that ties the sides together.
Okay, so where are the ties? At the top or the bottom? So it's kind of blurry, so I'm going to draw what I think I see. It looks like it's a neckline with ruffles around it. Yeah, it's still a little blurry. Tell me if this is what it's doing. It looks like, is it like a bib with a ruffle on it? So, Latoya, is this what it's doing? It's hard to see it. Is it doing this? Let me see. Wait, move it towards the middle. Okay, so it's a bib. Okay, so it's a little bigger, and then it has the ruffle. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna go to my sketching. So can you see what I did? Is that how it looks? You're gonna have to unmute yourself. Wait, I can't hear you. You're still muted. I'm gonna unmute your audio.
Like
Yeah.
the ruffle edges are bigger.
Or bigger. Okay, so
Like it's like the whole. So basically, like yeah. So it's like the middle of it is basically it. I always have trouble with making ruffles though.
it's gonna cascade a little if it's bigger ruffles.
Oh God.
So what happens is gravity pulls on the ruffles and it's gonna make it cascade. So you see how that rolls down?
Cause the one in my picture is like a thick material.
So what kind of fabric?
It looks like a heavy linen, but what I wanted to do mine in was like a corduroy.
Oh, with a ruffle? You think
Mhm.
you can ruffle corduroy?
Yeah.
That's gonna be hard because it's thick and those whales are gonna bunch up when you try to gather it.
Yeah, that's kind of how like it's bunched up in this. Like
Okay,
it's like
so you might want to get a piece of corduroy and try to gather it and see if you like the way it looks. Let me see if I can get a template for you. Okay, so I'm going to use one of these templates. Can you see that? Can you see that in there? Yeah. Okay, so it is full, so it's going to be like this. And then because corduroy is heavy, it's going to be angular when you're trying to get it to pleat. Is that more like what you want? I think you need to unmute because I can't hear you there. What did you say?
no, like more up. Like I wanted it to be like up, like this part to be up.
So show me. I'm pinning you.
Like
So
just kind of like wait, hold on. Maybe
okay.
I'm gonna make her bigger.
Okay.
So like you can see like it'll look like that.